I was at the Capitol today with Representative Wright on some other tax commission problems that we're having, and I had lunch with Representative Mike Reynolds, and he came to my office and threw something down on my desk, and he was just beside himself. He found another $63 million that we gave to a company, and the company slipped my mind just now. We gave it to them 3 years ago, and as of last week, they closed the doors. And so another $63 million of your money. And folks, and I looked at Mike and I read it and I said, that's just one deal. Those deals are done behind closed doors, behind the view of me, behind the view of John a lot of times. But, and oftentimes it's too late. So we are trying to take a poke at it and stop. And it's got a lot of momentum right now, and you have the big boys that are trying to capitalize on our goodwill. And I'm concerned that when the Republicans take control this year of the Senate for the first time since 1907, that may proliferate. And so I encourage each one of you, looking at a room this big, you represent a lot of different representatives and state senators, and I would encourage you to make sure your elected officials that work for you do not support those things next year.
Well, I can tell you if I do get in there, it won't. I'll be right there beside you fighting. So, I don't personally believe the government should be involved in economic development either. I know the Constitution gives the federal government the power to regulate commerce, and interstate commerce, and with foreign nations and with Indian tribes. And though the 10th Amendment does, because it's not prohibited by the Constitution and it's not a delegated duty of Congress to regulate interstate commerce, states can do that. But like Randy said, our Constitution specifically prohibits that. So it's definitely something I oppose, and I don't think that it's constitutional to do so on the federal level. And certainly, being in Oklahoma, soon to be hopefully state senator, I don't think it should be something Oklahoma should be doing. And I think that in a free society and economic system in which individuals, rather than the government, should make the majority of decisions regarding economic activities and transactions, and the supply and demand within the market should determine who gets what and what is produced rather than government.
Okay, well, my short answer is no. I would like to give you this picture here, if you can follow me, regarding a football game or a game of any kind, but I'll talk about football. There are a set of officials who don't play the game, who are not on the field, who sit in the room, and see for the game, find the field, write the rules, and say how a game should be played. And then they allow, if they do it right, they allow the players to get out on the field and play. They allow the referees to referee. And the game is played, and it's innovated, and it's real, and it's dynamic, and of course the fans watching it can see that. What doesn't happen, and this is where economic development, the way we understand it today, interjects itself. The guys that wrote the code, that wrote the rules, they look at the game, a particular game, and say, well, gee whiz, this guy's in a tough shape. He's looking at a 4th down and 15. I think we'll just write some new rules and give him 5 downs this time. Right in the middle of the game. Now that's what they're doing. That's wrong. I'm against that. You do have to have rules. You have to have a playing field. You have to know that the rules aren't going to change in the middle of the game. And you got to know it's all on you. If you win, it's on you. If you lose, it's on you. Nobody's going to come in and bail you out. Now that's my picture of how the government should play.
Question 6, we'll start out with Senator Brogdon. since the Constitution gives only enumerated powers to the federal government, what steps do we need to take to reclaim our state sovereignty over those non-enumerated powers? In other words, what can the government of the state of Oklahoma do to defend itself against the bandits and pirates who have hijacked the national ship of state?
Yeah. JB, you're hitting all my hot buttons tonight. I think you know that. This happens to be another piece of legislation that I ran last year that I'm happy to say I was the Senate author of a House bill with Representative Charles Key, and it was reclaiming the 10th Amendment. If there's been one thing that's gone wrong throughout the years, it is the fact that we, the people, again, you, me and you, we have allowed our state legislators and legislatures to be treated like a stepchild. And the federal government just simply does not have the authority to do most of what they're doing around this country right now. We authored a bill last year to reclaim the powers of the state's rights. And we, in this resolution, we had some very strong language imposed on the federal government to cease and desist. And we are reclaiming all powers given to us in the 10th Amendment, states' rights. You see, I was sitting there reading, anticipating this question. I think there's only 19 things that the federal government can do. Borrow money, regulate commerce, establish naturalization rules, establish punishment, securities, and coin money for the United States, establish post offices. There are 19 things spelled out that the federal government can do. And it says everything else that is not listed right here. If it's not listed right here, everything, whether named or unnamed, enumerated or not, is left to the states to decide. That's us. And we have let that go. And you know, I was not able to get my bill heard on the Senate floor. It passed the House with over 90 votes. And Mike Morgan, Senator Morgan, would not allow me to have that bill heard on the Senate floor because it was too controversial. Now, if there is any group of people in the entire world or in this entire country that should support the 10th Amendment, it should be the state legislators.
Yes.
You see, it's our responsibility. But does anyone have a guess why we choose to let those go? Any guesses? Money. That's it. Because we would rather give up some of our rights, some of our responsibilities, and exchange that for a little extra tapping of the till at the federal level. So what do? We elect people that will serve the people based on the Constitution of the United States. It is the most simple thing that we could do. Elect people that will serve properly. Plain and simple.
It's easy to be bold, but guys like Randy beside you, that's for sure. I think there's three things we should do, and that's one, like Randy said, we need to pass any law and resolution that is not prohibited nor already delegated to Congress that will reaffirm our state sovereignty over areas of intrastate commerce we feel has been unconstitutionally regulated or taxed, liberties that have been unconstitutionally encroached upon, and or property that's been unconstitutionally taken by the federal government. We need to elect and or re-elect representatives and senators for public offices that pass the only litmus test allowed by the Constitution, which is their adherence to their oath or affirmation to uphold it. And three, we need to tell the federal government that if they don't like it, the founders of this great nation and several Supreme Court justices in their declarations and rulings said tough.
Well, obviously, it's the 10th Amendment. We need to understand it as a people. I would like to encourage you to catch on to the wave here that's going across the nation. Oklahoma is seen as the leader of reasserting states' rights. They reasserted their states' rights in 1804, We turned down the NAFTA superhighway twice.